Hi, thanks for checking out this video. We're going to work with Take the A Tray, and we're going to play arpeggios on it in order to outline the chord changes. And we'll talk about advancing that a little bit, but we'll start out by kind of going over some of the shapes, and then we'll work into playing. I'll play an example solo using arpeggios. Okay, so let's start out with the first chord. So we have a C6. Okay, so let's come up with some notes here. Okay, so I'm not going to go over all of the different positions, but on guitar you want to take a let's say 4 notes like that, and you want to play them around the neck in different positions and things. Okay, so C6, and just knowing a few places to play that. And then also mixing the notes up, so being able to start maybe with a third, okay, or being able to start on the 6th and going in any direction. So so that's the idea. So you should be able to find 5 or 7 shapes on any given note. So let's say I'll go with the first example. So I have C, I have E, I have G, I have A. You should be able to find 7 ways to do those notes in that sequence. And really up and down, so you could start on the 6th, we'd have kind of the same thing in the opposite direction. If you want to take it a bit further, you could go in each position and work on stretching and getting to each one of those too. But there should be 7 basic shapes that are pretty comfortable to reach on the guitar for each one of these patterns. All right, so let's go to the next chord. We have D7. So I'm going to start with just basically D7. Okay, and again, being able to play that from the different notes, arranging those 4 notes into different orders and playing it in different positions throughout the neck. And so now that particular chord has this kind of, since the melody note has this G sharp, that's a sharp 11 on that chord. So you might try to play up to through the 9 into the sharp 11, or you could practice also playing, omitting the 5 and playing an arpeggio with the sharp 11. Something like that. Okay, or even starting on the sharp 11. Okay, and coming up with some ideas like that. All right, so let's move into the D minor. Okay, so this is probably a pretty familiar group of notes. So we have the minor 7, so D, F, A, C. Okay, now we're looking at G7. Okay, so we have G, B, the D, and the F. So notice that these 2 arpeggios are going to share the D and the F. So the C will move down by half step. The A will move down by whole step. So that's one way to think about that chord change. All right, and then we're back on the C6 again. And then getting into the D minor 7 and G7. All right, so I'll play through a little bit of that, what we have there so far. So I'm just going to kind of mix up the rhythm and really work on just using those notes that we kind of talked about. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's an example of playing the arpeggios on the A section, which we just talked about. Notice that I played the sharp 11 rather than the 5, just to kind of give us an example of that. So the next few chords are going to be the same, pretty much the same. We've got the C6, we've got the D7. We have that sharp 11 there. We've got the D minor, the G7, and then the C6. And then we go to the C7. Okay, so notice we have the 7 rather than the 6. So when you go from C6 to C7, you could keep all the notes same except for that 6, you should just raise it a half step. Okay. And that's going to help pull us into F where the bridge goes. So I'll play a little bit of an example solo in that over the second A. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then you might resolve that to the third or something along those lines. So that's the second A. That brings us to the bridge here. So we have the 4 chord. We have F major 7. So again, same concept, being able to play F major 7 throughout the neck. And then mixing it up, being able to start on maybe the 7th or the 5th. Okay, so that's the F, and then we're going to be on that for quite a while, and then we're for 4 bars, and then we're going to go to this D7, which we've already worked out. And then we have the D minor, the G7, and then we have remain on G7, but there is kind of a flat 9, so why don't we talk about that? So that's beat 3 of the final measure of the bridge. So we have, so you could play a G7 arpeggio. You could also play an A flat diminished arpeggio, which would omit the root note. Or you could just add the flat 9 to the G7. Okay, so you only have 2 beats to play on that though. All right, so let's try out an example of maybe soloing using arpeggios on this one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then you might resolve that to the third of the new C chord, or wherever you want to go with it. Okay, so the final A section is just like the very first A section, but let's go over it. So we have the C6 again. And then we have the D7. Or you might try the sharp 11. Okay, we have the D minor 7. And then the G7. And then the C6. Okay, so again, I'll play a short solo on that using arpeggios. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that brings us through the whole form. So that's what we want to generally look for. So as you play arpeggios or study the arpeggios, you might try to look at how the different chords will move. You know, what notes might remain the same. So for example, at the very beginning we have C6. So the note C is common to C6 and D9. It's also in the D minor 7. So thinking about what notes change and what notes kind of remain the same. All right, well, I'll play a sample solo over the form of the tune. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this time I will go through the chord changes. I'll just play very simple chords and keep it very basic and see if you can try to play some arpeggios on this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. great. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it just gave you some ideas and maybe helped you with some shapes as well. And let me know how it goes. And if you did enjoy the video, learning something from it, just try to keep working with it and see how you improve over time. So also remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, and if you need additional help to reach out to me, you can find my contact information in the description. All right, thanks again. I hope you have a great practice session.